All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to
Open
welcome
shutter.
back to Tutorial Tuesday. I almost said open shutter
I'll get it
again.
right eventually. I'll get it right eventually.
I'll get it right one day.
One day.
One day. Today we're gonna talk about thumbnails. Okay, we're gonna talk about all things thumbnails. If you have any questions, you can leave your questions below. And if you want us to take a look at some thumbnails that you've made, we'll take a look and just share, our opinion. So I will go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Selim. I'm the admin for the Small YouTubers Growing Together group. And we've been having pretty interesting discussions there lately. So I feel like these live sessions might offer a little bit more interaction. So if anybody wants to come on as a guest or be a part of the panel on a specific week, you can just let me know in advance. All right. Mariana, your turn.
Hi, my name is Mariana. I'm here again. I really don't know that much about thumbnails. Like, I don't think I'm that good at it. I think I make good ones sometimes, and then other times I think they're good, and people are like, "Oh, you need to fix all these things." So it's really, really hard, I think. So I'm here to learn and maybe give some advice, some little bit that I know, and then hopefully that will be helpful.
All right, Salim.
What's going on, guys? Salem Simi here. So usually my channel will focus on faith and entrepreneurship, but I think I'm gonna apply a little bit of like some more industry graphic design knowledge to thumbnail and see how we can be able to utilize that to also, go from a basic standpoint. We're gonna utilize something super simple. Today, I really want to kind of kill a lot of excuses that people have for not really even trying to make their thumbnail halfway decent, and hopefully giving you some free game as well that you can utilize, and then hopefully we come out with some great thumbnails. So we're gonna learn something today.
I'm pumped. I'm here to learn. My name is Paul from Toronto, Canada, and my channel is all about photography. So check me out if you're into photography. And yeah, like Salam said, like thumbnails are super important because you could have a really amazing video, but if your thumbnail sucks, no one's clicking on the link. And also your title. I think your title and your thumbnail are really the two most important things, because I just seen from my own videos, like the videos that do well generally have a good thumbnail and a pretty good title. So you need some sort of hook. And if you spend all that time editing and shooting, like spend like half an hour on a thumbnail, because it's going to help you get seen, right? Which is what we want. We want to be seen, right? So I'm pumped for this one because I'm here to learn too.
Very good, very good, very good. So thumbnails. The question is, my first question to all of you is, how important are thumbnails?
Very. Very.
Yeah, I think maybe second to your actual video, there's nothing more important than your thumbnail. So for sure.
Because it's pretty much getting people through the door, right?
Yeah.
And I keep asking people this: if you search for a solution to something, and a video shows up, and it's just a blank black, nothing on there, but it has the exact title as what you are looking for, would you click it?
No.
You might actually go ahead and click other videos which the title might be similar, but they do have a thumbnail that suggests that, hey, there's something in this video.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Have you guys ever gone back to update your thumbnails, like on an old?
Never. Nah.
Okay. So Paul,
I have.
Yes, Paul. I have.
Yeah,
Paul, I have one thing for you. I've done it, and it actually works.
Yeah.
I've done it, and the day I did it, it was a day that I felt like doing it, so I went and updated about 15 of my old thumbnails on my Meek Photos account. And then a week later, when I went back to look at the analytics, on that day, all 15 videos, the viewership just went up. They were one of my old videos that I never cared about, thumbnails. So if you go back and you do it,
so you shot a thumbnail for those videos. Like you shot something for it?
No, I just the thumbnails, my thumbnail, I don't include my face in my thumbnails. So either I'm talking about, something like a microphone or a lens or camera or something. So I found a better picture and I made it pop because I learned some more stuff to make it pop, So yeah.
Well, the reason I haven't done it because with me, the outdoors and everything. So my thumbnails are a lot of times they're pictures taken while I'm out there, right? A lot of times I forget to take a picture that would be good for a thumbnail. Like I don't have it in mind. I do take a lot of pictures, but a lot of times I just take a screenshot off of the video. And so I can't redo it later because every situation is different. And I do put my face or somehow myself in the pictures a lot of the times because I've learned that and I've heard that it does help. That people do. It's not necessary. Like if you do a tech review or like a photography type of tech stuff, no, you don't necessarily have to have your face in there. But a lot of times in other areas, it could help. So I put a picture that looks like me in the video, like the same clothing, the same everything. So it would be kind of weird for me to update them. And usually I do the best I can and I'm done. And then I'm like, that's it. And I haven't really done it.
I think to me, I even heard one time an old YouTuber say something that blew my mind. I remember he said that when he became more popular, I think before he had like 100,000 subscribers, all the videos that he made before that, which was like hundreds of videos, he went and changed the thumbnail on all of them to be able to match the quality of thumbnails that he's doing now. And he realized that it helped, kind of like what Serlon was talking about, having people watch even the old stuff, because just based on the thumbnail, it doesn't seem that old. Like if you go to some of your older videos, you'll realize like, I mean, I've been on YouTube really putting videos out like since 2012. So when I look at those old videos, like, I mean, we didn't even care, whatever it fell on, you left it, right? So, but when I look at the quality of like the newer content versus the older content, you can definitely see that like that was like 6-7 years old. But for the person watching, really, unless they really care about like looking at the date, it doesn't matter, right? So if the content is still good, they can still watch it. And what helps with that is the thumbnail. So when he said that, it really dawned on me, and I was like, and that's really when I decided to go back. But I'll admit that I haven't changed all my videos. I feel like that would be like so much work because I do include my face, right? So then I have to like care about like how go on. I'm like, so much work. But I can definitely say that if someone has the time, or they can have some form of like batch editing of the thumbnail, or you have like some form of template, which is what I'm going to talk about, I think it's definitely going to help.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mariana, you're right. I know I have a feeling that including my face might help some of the thumbnails because it's a general human response to kind of like focus on faces and stuff like that. But again, I'm not like making those extreme faces. I think I made it for like 1 or 2 thumbnails, and I just didn't like it. It just felt a little bit overboard, And so if I can include my face and not have to make an extreme face, I'll do it. But then it works depending on your niche. It works for some cases every single time. So yeah.
You do you. Whatever's comfortable.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking at my thumbnails on my channel, and it's horrible, in a way. So I think there are 2 different types of thumbnails, maybe more, but I can think of 2, and then kind of a blend in between. So the one type of thumbnail is when you take kind of like a screenshot from the video, or you take a picture out there. They do that with cooking a lot of times. A lot of people, they take a picture how that chicken is in the oven. Like it has to be a really good picture, right? Nothing crazy, just a snapshot. Or the outdoors people do that a lot, fishing, hunting. It's what's out there. So the other type is when you do all these things on an app. You have a blank, like a brown background, and then you have all these different things, right? And then you kind of have in between where you manipulate your screenshot, and then you add your text, and then you add this, and then you cut this out and everything. So, I mean, if somebody looks at my channel, they can clearly see that I'm still experimenting with things because I don't know. I think they really need to be redone because they don't match. But at the same time, people say your thumbnails have to have the same color schemes and the same everything. And you guys will probably kill me for this, but I don't necessarily agree with it. Like I'm not gonna have all my thumbnails green, or like in the green family or blue because I actually like the variety, but I should have some kind of a cohesive something. And I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I don't know how to fix it. So it's tough.
I see. Yeah, about that. Yeah, I also didn't care about colors, but then when I started my new channel, I actually made I had a color scheme that I was going with, and so let me show this website real quick here. So sometimes it's great to pick a color scheme and stick with, but at the same time, when you want to even use just different colors, it's good to find colors that work well together. Okay, so when you go to this website, color.adobe.com, it used to be KULE.com, but they changed it now. So color.adobe.com, here you can see different color matches. In fact, you can find different palettes, analogous, monochromatic, the triad. So you can move some of these things around and then it will tell you which colors work with. So let's say you want to go with a 3-color scheme. You can just move this wheel around and then go with this, and that. Okay. So having colors that work together well and are pleasing to the eye is quite important. So if you are in the early stages and you feel like sticking to a color scheme, it definitely does help. All right, so I just wanted to share that real quick.
Interesting.
That's the plug right there, man. You give a lot of juice there. I mean, that's crazy stuff. I was going to talk about that.
Yep. And it's a free. It's a free site right there. It's a free site.
Is this from Adobe?
Yeah, I used to use this back in the day when I used to create websites, and it's kind of, you ask for a website, you can't just come up with random colors and create a website for a business. So if you find colors that actually work together and you decide on how you want to approach it, you come here, find the colors, and then get to work.
So I'm gonna give you guys a pro tip, all right? Because I mean, Lomi's already coming out the gate with the goodies. So I was going to show it on the screen, but I think I'm going to say here as we're talking about colors. So in marketing, especially even in graphic design, one color that is very successful, and you will notice why when I say this, that does very well in thumbnails is yellow. The color yellow does very, very well. Think about this. Why do you think most cabs and school buses are yellow? Because yellow is one of those colors that is not offensive to the eye, but at least captures your attention.
Right.
So colors to avoid, especially whenever from a marketing and a sales position, is colors like red. They tend to be repulsive. That's why we have the stop signs are red to tell you that there's danger or something like that. So you want to avoid too much red in your colors. Colors that are welcoming are green. Lime green especially does extremely well, but yellow is the #1 effective colors in thumbnail. So finding a way to incorporate yellow somehow, even if you're going to do something as simple as putting a yellow border around your thumbnail, that's all you do.
So what kind of yellow, like lemon yellow or this color yellow, does it matter? Because like cabs are kind of like this color, right?
Right. I think yellow is not one of those where people are going to OCD about which yellow it is. I think yellow in general.
The difference,
That's a good question. I think what I would say is staying with something more closer to like the cab yellow. I think something along those lines will be better. Not something more like a highlighter yellow. The highlighter to highlight something you write
right here.
Kind of yellow. right? So
Highlight the screen. Highlight the screen. Let's see it.
don't do it.
Camera,
Oh,
laptop.
no.
exactly, exactly. So
Good to know, man. Yellow. Okay. All right.
Okay,
big
so
call.
so Alina has a question or comment here. Some thumbnails too colorful. Yeah, so
Yeah.
for me personally, if the thumbnail is too clickbaity, I don't click it, because most of the time, if it's too clickbaity, it's not. It doesn't have a lot of value, you know. So you do it to some extent, but not overboard. Yeah. Well, Evans,
I think
man.
Evans,
Where are
Evans,
you?
you're supposed to
Evans,
be in here, and then you are
exactly.
commenting from. I hope will see you next week, Evans.
so. I think the way it is, like, to kind of answer one of your earlier questions, like how important thumbnails are. I feel that your title is important, is super important, right? Because when people put in a search, it will go with your title, description, tags, but it's the title, not the thumbnail, right? So YouTube does all that for you. You have all these videos that come up, hundreds and hundreds of videos. And then the next thing you look at is the thumbnail. So let's say you have all these choices now, and now you need to make a decision based on the thumbnail. So the title, you're still probably kind of going back to the title, like, okay, exactly what does it say? Because, you know, you want to look for a video, how to train my dog. And now you're going to come up with all these videos that will have that in it. But, you know, this is about training your dog this way, that way, you know, all these things. So you're constantly going back and forth. But your thumbnail is 50%, I think, your decision making. So you could have a really good title and the thumbnail is like whatever, and someone will click on it. It's kind of hit and miss. But if you have two similar titles and you have a really good thumbnail, more professional or less clickbaity, like you said, less color, not crazy color, you know, but just right, and it's different for everybody, but there's overall a good rule. But I think it has to go with the title. They kind of have to go hand in hand in a way.
I think one of the things that we also have to highlight, guys, is that your thumbnail also depends on your audience, right? So if, you know, I feel like I always have to remind us, right? Because a lot of the people watching who are part of this group, we're servicing like so many different like niches, right? So we're not all doing the same thing. And one of the things, like, for example, when you look at some of the bigger YouTubers, a lot of them, well, not all of them, but a good portion of them really were targeting a particular demographic of more of a younger crowd. Hence why the flashy color, hence why the excessive face emotions, because that's what kind of a lot of them responds to, right? Like when you look at, for example, a lot of Mr. Beast thumbnails are like over the top stuff, right? Maybe not super colorful, but when you see the expression, you see it just makes you think like, oh my God, it's something crazy. I need to see this, right? So a lot of the time, I can bet you that that C-suite executive is not thinking to myself, man, I need to click on Mr. Beast's video and see how he spent, you know, the last person to leave this boat wins the boat kind of thing. Like, it probably doesn't care about that. But that 11-year-old who's watching that is going to spend the next hour binging on Mr. Beast stuff. So they know their audience and they know that the over the top is going to get the clicks, right? So you also got to know what is your audience. Like I was talking to my sister the other day. She was starting to make like food videos. And I told her, follow like big companies like McDonald's and Burger King. Think about this. How do they take pictures of their food? Super big. I'm like, she was taking all these pictures of like far from the food. I'm like, forget that. You gotta take a wide angle lens and shoot almost this disproportionate size. Like when you look at the burger on the commercial, it looks huge, and you're like, oh, that's a double Whopper.
You have to be able to taste it when you look at it. You should be able to taste it.
You got to feel like you can hold the burger, like it's going to be the size of your head, but the burger is really like this small. You know what I mean? So I think that's what you have to know. What is your audience? What is your audience accustomed to? And I think, you know, using like big media, like the big companies and what they've done is something that can really help.
Right. Ohima, you have a question. Yes, the free thumbnail app is Canva. So Salam is going to demonstrate for us here real soon.
Nice
We're gonna be switching over to him real soon. But somebody here says the clickbait. They do work, but if you have a clickbait that doesn't match the energy of your video, like Mr. Beast clickbait matches the energy of his video. His videos are well paced. When you start watching it, you just cannot stop. You're gonna watch it through. But if your clickbait says, "Look, I just bought an island," and then they start watching the video and they realize that it's not what it is.
Yeah, if they lie,
you're gonna lose like viewers so quickly. Okay, your audience retention will be so poor, the video will not be pushed, for further out. So you have to think about that too.
Right.
Okay, so are you all set? You want to share your screen?
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna let me share my screen right quick.
And thank you guys for being on. When you guys are on, please do all to like the video, and you guys are leaving some comments. That's great. It goes a long way to help get more people on here. And any other questions you have, just put them down there.
So the most important thing, I think, with the thumbnail, like for someone that's just starting out on YouTube, is that your thumbnail should be a representative of your video, right? Maybe you want to give away a little bit, something crazy that will happen, so people will want to watch it. Maybe you don't. It depends, maybe you don't. You just want to show what's going on, and then the title will tell you, like, okay, you got to watch this to find out, or whatever, right? You can add text. You could add additional information that's addition to the title. But clickbait, good clickbait means it's just a really good one. People want to click on it. But clickbait normally has a negative meaning, right? Is that you promised one thing for the, something awesome, and then you click on the video and you're like, what the heck is this? And then you click away, and then you unsubscribe. You never come back. You're lowering the ranking of the video because all these people are leaving 10 15 seconds later. So a thumbnail has to be a representative of what the video is, and that's the most important thing. And then whether you do a really good one or you're still just trying to figure it out, as long as you're in line with that, I think that's already good. I think that's the most important thing.
So guys, what I'm going to do is because the Canva part is going to be super easy, I'm going to cover, I think, 8 tips that have helped me, not only just with thumbnails, but in general, making just great graphics that can help. And I think this will really kind of take your thumbnail game to the next level, or at least help to. So number one, we talked about this. I think including text help drive the point. It helps convey more of the context. So what I mean, including text on your actual thumbnail, you'll see that most of the thumbnails I'm going to show do have text on them. So if you find a way to include some text that can help, or sometimes that can be an extension to your title. So here's another thing. A lot of people, sometimes what they do is they repeat the same text of their title in the thumbnail. I think that's actually a waste of real estate. I think what you need to do is you need to include more conveying points on your thumbnail than necessarily your title. Obviously, just be conscious that the text on your thumbnail is not searchable. So you need to make sure it's actually on the title written.
Use the SEO in the title. Use the SEO.
Exactly. Yeah. So use text on the thumbnail as an extension to drive home the context of what your video is. Number 2, font matters. I don't know how much people think it's like, I can just use whatever font, right? No. So I broke it down here to make it really simple. So you want to use the best font style based on what type of videos you usually want to make, right? So you want something that's easy readable. So someone can read it at a glance, somebody can read it relatively quickly. You don't want something that's too tight. What does your font say about you? So I'm going to use 3 or more commonly used fonts, and you guys can kind of have an idea of like, what do these fonts say about the type of either the video content you make or the creator. So sans serif type font is used for mainly modern, clean, businessy type videos. What are sans serif fonts? Those are like the more bulky, heavy fonts that are more squarish. So you want to be conscious if that's the style of videos you make, that's the kind of font you want to be able to use. The serif fonts, those are the more of the skinnier type fonts, more line. So those usually go for more like simple, more less formal type videos. And then there's the script type fonts. Those are the ones for, I would say, can work well for a lot of like beauty channels that are talking a lot about glamour, and like a sophisticated, elegant, something a little bit on that side. Script type fonts could help drive a little bit that identity. Here's a pro tip. Be consistent in your font. Choose a font and stay with that font forever. Forever. Stay with that font for a long time. One of the best examples of that is Apple. Apple has used the same font for over 17 years. The same font. They haven't even changed the font. They use the same font over and over. If you look, I was even going to bring up, so here we're looking at Apple. So here's the funny part where we're talking about like the colors and stuff. When you look at Apple, their thumbnail kind of varies. But one thing that never changes, you'll see a lot of the time they use this particular, it's called Apple Gothic font. It's actually named after them. So you'll see that they use the same font over and over. Maybe different size of the font. You'll see whether it's here, 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 here. It's the same font size. Here, same font size. Well, not the size, same font that they use. The size can change, the size can differ, but the fonts remain very consistent. So consistency in the fonts being utilized is very important. I hope you guys can see that. I'm just a little tight there.
See it.
Yep.
So
interesting. Font's a big one, man.
Font is a big one. To me, that was like, I had to put it number 2. So number 3, relevant image. I think this is important. I think we kind of all get this, but sometimes it kind of like, we don't always apply it. I know sometimes I don't apply it, but it's important. You want to avoid clickbaiting. We talk about that. Sometimes one of the things that can help you is having some form of snapshot of the video on your thumbnail that you're going to use as a background. Maybe you're going to add something on there. Use high quality images. That's very important. I was talking to my sister, so I'll give you guys the example of my sister and food. So I use this particular food example. Actually, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to create a food thumbnail with you guys. Just simply because I want to give myself a challenge because I'm not in the food industry, but I'm like, okay, let's make something nice. So I like this particular channel because the way you see here, they kind of mix all we're talking about. Some thumbnails have food, some thumbnails have people. They have the yellow going on. And one of the things that I like about them is that they use the rule of third. So for those who are familiar, I know a lot of videographers and photographers are familiar with rule of third. So basically a rule of third is, let's think about if you're looking at a thumbnail, like let's say it was this particular square here was a thumbnail, right? So a rule of third is you would push 3 lines, vertical and horizontal. And what you want is the annexation between the vertical and the horizontal lines. Those will create the third. So this would be the first third, and then the middle third, and then the last third. You want your main subject to take at least 2/3 of that. So in this thumbnail here, the example that I'm showing you guys here, you see that the yellow only takes 1/3 of that, or not even. The main picture, the main dish you want to show takes the majority of the actual picture of the thumbnail. Does it make sense? So you want whatever is going to be the focus point to take the majority of space on the thumbnail, right? And I'm going to showcase other examples as well. So really understanding the rule of third is really important. A lot of the videographers also use that when they shoot. That's why sometimes you don't always pick a subject in the middle, you put them on the side. But anyways, I digress. Rule of third when it comes to thumbnail is you want your subjects to take at least 2/3 of the main image on the thumbnail. So something to keep in mind. We talked about contrast. I think you kind of see a pattern here by yellow, right? I'm trying to hammer this point to you guys. So colors matter. And that's what I was saying, that when Shalom was talking about that, it was so clutch. You want to either use complementary colors or opposite colors. For example, you see here, what's easier to read, on the right or on the left?
Left.
On the left. The left is easier to read, right? But you can see that on the right here, these are complementary colors. But here on the left, these are opposite colors, right? So you got to also be conscious of what is the background of your thumbnail to the words that you're going to put on top of it. So all that depends. In this particular case, this is a very bright background, so that's why the words are darker. But if, for example, it was a darker background, then the words have to be lighter. Yeah. Or sometimes if it's a picture with a lot going on, what you could put is you could put a dimmer, and I'll show you even how to do that, even with something like Canva, and then you put the words on top of that. So that's definitely something you can do. So understanding contrast and colors is very, very, very important. High contrast can convey more of a like an emotion of intrigue, which forces people to want to also find out more. We talked about that. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a question about this yellow, the yellow color,
okay.
And how you guys say, you know, how you have to be consistent and everything. And I can't go back and change my thumbnails and everything. It would be almost impossible. But do you think it would help if I went back and over time, you know, how you could download your thumbnail that you have on a video from YouTube, the YouTube Studio app, and then I would simply keep the same thing, but add like a yellow, this yellow, like a frame,
border, right?
Very, very small border around it, and re-upload, and maybe even like a different shade depending on what works. But I would keep kind of like this yellow. Would that be too much, or would that be okay? Do you think it would help?
I think it would help. I think, you know, it's up to you to test it out, right, and see. I think what you just explained, even for the audience watching, I think it's like the path of least resistance. So it's the least amount of work, but that can produce a lot more in terms of results. I think it's worth trying for sure. I think it's worth trying and see. Like, for example, you see here, these guys, how they kept just the yellow just being for the name. So I like the way they did that too.
Yeah.
So that's something to do. Remember, this is just like, you don't have to apply every single thing, right? If there's one thing like, yo, that's a gem, and I want to keep that, use that. So if we use yellow, hey, take the yellow. If we use like, hey, I need to make sure I'm consistent with my font, be consistent with your font, right? Like, I'll show you, for example, an example with this guy here is a videographer, Mike Como. He does a lot of travels and stuff like that. You look at the fonts he uses. It's not the most easier to read font, but look at the consistency of the font.
And he has a
right, and it's super big.
Yeah,
you almost should have put a background on the font.
It's helpful.
I put like a black backboard on the font.
Right. So you kind of have to decide, okay, you know, what is that, and stick with it. This is another. He's a marketer, and I like the way he does his. His is he's got into a science. He's very technical in the way he wants his fonts to be, right? And I've taken some of his other courses. He's very analytical, so he's probably studied this and he knows this works. And he uses the same green in the back, over and over and over. He just changes the titles once in a bit. He's big on SEO. So again, high contrast and colors help. Faces, expressing emotions. This is where we enter a little bit the sphere of a lot of the more common popular YouTubers who are trying to appeal to a certain audience. So you'll notice that most of them do like these over the top type stuff. Why? Because they know it works, right? I mean, it's easier for us to be like, oh, sure, man, that doesn't work. I don't know. I mean, when you look at the views, it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's I think instead of us to bash it, learn how you can implement some form of it to your particular niche, right? Learn how you can implement some of it. Go ahead.
How do you actually make that thumbnail like have the over the top expression? Like, it just seems like not natural to do.
For some people, it's not natural. Like, I don't have that in my personality.
I don't think it's supposed to be natural. I think it's supposed to make you wanna know, oh my goodness, what happened here? You know?
Exactly.
So I think that's what's supposed to happen.
Remember, right? This is the analogy I use, right? And then to all my ladies who are on part of the group, so I'm gonna use this. Mariana is gonna be our live witness here. Listen, when you go on your first date, it doesn't matter how nice of a person you are. That person is going to judge you based on how your appearance, right? So guess what you do? You make an effort to be more than just natural, right? So you put some kind of a...
But here's the thing, and this actually ties directly into thumbnail. I never try to look and act like anything other than who I really am.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to have to keep that. I don't want to lie and keep that up. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? This is what you get. Yeah, I'm going to look a little prettier and a little whatever, but that's still me. So it's the same thing with the thumbnail. You want it to be as good as possible, but you don't want to promise something that won't be there. So yeah, so that's a good analogy.
Because remember, you have to be consistent, right? And that's going to be my last point. Be consistent, because you don't want to do something like that one thumbnail was fire, but you can't continue to do that because it gets exhausting. And we've seen so many YouTubers get kind of burnt out, right? Because they play this like image that they're not. And then eventually you kind of get sick of it, right? So a lot of the prankster, a lot of the family vloggers, you know what I mean? That was kind of over the top. So another example of someone who did it very well, of kind of still being himself, but by utilizing motion, is our favorite neighborhood vlogger, Casey Neistat. So I'm gonna showcase some of the Casey Neistat stuff here. I mean, you can already tell based on the first couple of videos of that Casey he's a beast at this. Like, look at these. The difference with Casey, he doesn't use any he doesn't use that many words in his actual thumbnail. But look at the facial expression, and they're not always the same. Sometimes they're not over the top, but at least they get you enough to click. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's Casey, man. You see his face, you click.
He doesn't even need
Yeah, you see, I'm gonna say is that a lot of people need to, I think, like a lot of us, most of us, all of us need to hear this maybe several times, that you can study the big YouTubers and see what they do and see what works, but you cannot do what they do and expect the same results. I can't just put my face there and everybody think like, oh, well, you know, Casey Neistat just had his face and everybody, you know, he had 1 million views, and now they're gonna look at my face because I'm not him. I don't have the audience. I don't have the reputation. I don't have everything to prove it. So we have to try 10,000 times harder, but we can still see like he has the emotions, or he has the face in the thumbnail or whatever. But let's say he doesn't use text in his thumbnails, and you have everybody else telling you that, well, you could. I mean, you have the space. So don't say, well, he doesn't use it. I don't have to. No, listen to everybody. So it's so complicated. You know, you have to go with all these different things.
Yeah, I think there's an analogy that so I'm from Africa. There's an analogy that we usually say, you know, when you eat meat, eat the meat and throw the bones, right? So take whatever is good for you, right? Don't try to eat everything, right? And you're not going to finish an elephant in a day anyway, right? So trying to take things step by step at a time. So, for example, if you're someone who you look at Casey Neistat, just doing Casey Neistat type thumbnails is not going to help you, because if you're not doing Casey Neistat style videos, like, are you doing the production like him? Are you doing the consistent like him? Right? So don't copy just one aspect of a big YouTuber and complain that you're not getting the rest of the results. Right? And by the way, you can copy all their aspects. You're just not them. Maybe it's their personality that people love. It might have nothing to do. So always be conscious of that. So, but faces in general do tend to do very well. The human connection, the eye contact with the viewer, expressing emotion. I'm going to get a little bit technical on numbers 6 and 7. So 6 and 7 is more in terms of optimized for mobile. Let's not kid ourselves. 60 to 70% of thumbnail impressions comes from phones. So if you're not including any form of like, well, let me put it this way. If you're not optimizing for mobile with your thumbnails, you're wasting your time. What do I mean by that? When you make a thumbnail, look at it on the phone or look at it small and see, is it still readable? Right? Because that's what your viewers are going to see it on their phone. If it's not readable on the thumbnail or on a smaller screen, it just looks good when it's big, then you know you might be more in trouble there. And this is for those who do not know. This is more of like some technical. So your thumbnail should be 1280 by 720. So that's a 16:9 aspect ratio. What that means is it's one of those rectangles. So the 16:9 aspect ratio just means that it's long, right? So it's not a square. That's what that means. And it has to be 2 megabytes or less. The good thing is, Right. If not, it's going to reject it if it's more than that. And it can be any of these type of file sizes. A lot of the time, some people do their thumbnails as a 1920 by 1080, which it will still take it if it still falls under these other rules here. But often enough, depending on what you use, the quality of the photos, it tends to be heavier anyway. So using 1280 by 720 doesn't hurt. So it's not people are going to be dissecting the pixels on your thumbnail. Exactly. Right. So you have to kind of think about that.
And just to add something real quick here. Optimizing for phones, one thing you have to take note of is that sometimes the thumbnails come with a little bit of the title on top of it, and the far edges don't show up on the phone depending on the type of phone. So make sure your text is close to the middle of the thumbnail. That way, somebody who is searching on the phone can easily read it as well. So that's one other thing.
Yeah, rule of third, same thing, right? So make sure that whatever you want to be the focus to take the majority of the thumbnail, right? So don't put it on the side a little bit or whatever the case may be. Rule of thirds. Okay, and lastly, to me, the biggest thing where people fail in thumbnail, and I did, right? So I'm speaking from experience. I did this a lot. Was we're not consistent enough. And here's how consistent I got. I got to the point where I got the hex code of all the colors to make sure I was using the same exact color every single time.
What's the code?
Well, it depends. It depends on what your color is, right? So for those who do not know what a hex code is, every color comes with a 6-digit, I think it's 6 digits, right? 6-digit combination, right? Specific to that color. So for example, this green that he has, it's not like any green, it's that specific green. So to get that green every single time, it comes with the hex code. When I was looking at the late night show with Stephen Colbert, they put this little blue hue on top of the name of the guest. It's hard to see here, but if you go to the channel, you'll see. That hue has a specific hex code because the guy who's making the thumbnail has to make sure it's the same hue all the time. He can't just be like, kind of looks like the other one, right? So a hex code is really one of those pro tips. And font, like I said at the beginning, right? Just have one font. You want to know, you're like, Salem, I don't know where font to use. Well, here's another plug for you to go. You can go to thefont.com, DAFONT.com. And this place will give you the game in terms of fonts. Another place that you can also do is Google Fonts. So Google Fonts is also another plug that can get you. This is places I've also had some fonts. You can download them. A lot of the times it's free, depending on what you want, right? So pick a font, stick with the font, right? So depending on what you want. So that's a little bit of my my small class. So thank you for participating.
You charged for this class, by the way.
That was a very, very good presentation, my friend.
I appreciate it. All right. So now let's go to Canva. Right. So you can go to canva.com. It's pretty simple. So Canva is CANVA.com. And then Canva has come a long way. I think I was there in the early days of Canva. Canva was not this nice, or wasn't this nice looking, but they've really grown. So big nods to them on there. The good thing now, when you have Canva, whether you do this, I also use Canva on my phone a lot. I don't even know what my phone is, but it kind of gives you the same things. You can decide to do a paid version of Canva. You can do it for free. It depends on you, right? So there's the free version, there's the pro, the enterprise, the education, the nonprofit. Honestly, what I'm about to show you is on the free version. So, right, it doesn't really matter. So when you come on here, and you look, they have different recommendations depending on what you want. They know what most people do, right? So if you come to the social media one, you'll see that they have even the Facebook, the different ones. What we need is a thumbnail on YouTube. So if you see under social media, I'm gonna do it slowly so you guys understand. So if you click on social media here.
Yeah.
I'll make sure you guys can see what I'm talking about. So you click on social media, and then you scroll. Well, I should be back. Right. Yes. No, it's right here. Right, there you go.
Yeah.
You'll come and you look and you'll see YouTube thumbnail here. And this one, again, it's the same dimension. So 1280 by 720. So when you click on it, it's going to open a workspace for you to be able to start working on your actual thumbnail. So the good thing with this is it's already giving you something that has the exact size. So you won't have to worry about, is it the right size for YouTube? It's already the exact size. They also have different thumbnails that they already have here, some templates that you can use. I tend to notice that if there's a great looking thumbnail, it's probably not free. So more of the basic ones can help you. So depending on what you want, for example, you see, like, let's say we're doing something, I was doing something with food, right? I said food, let's go food related. Let's say that we're making cupcakes or something like that. See, these, they're using that same rule of third I was talking about, right? But the words on the side and that over there. I don't see anything with cupcakes. We might have to make something.
Type in cupcakes.
That's true. Cupcakes. What's your cupcake contest?
Oh, nothing?
Oh, okay. I mean, there's this right here.
How can there only be one thumbnail for cupcakes? Who doesn't like cupcakes?
Exactly, right? That's what I thought too.
What's the deal with that?
Wow, Mariana says she doesn't like cupcakes, right?
What?
Unless it's not that sweet, because it's just nasty. I'm sorry. It's too much sugar.
So to know whether a template is free, you'll see if you hover over it, it will say free on the side, and if it's not, it won't say free. So you see the first 4 here are free. So if you utilize, for example, this one, we'll click on it. It brings it over.
Free. Let's go.
All of that free, right?
Oh,
so
you're done.
Here, they have the picture on the side here. So just looking at this, I can tell what's going on here is that there's a picture. The background is orange. There's this image of a cookie. There's the word, and there's this image of a cupcake. Well, cheesecake, I guess. That looks like a cheesecake. So, which means it's very simple, right? So if you really take all these out like this, you're just left with a blank slate right there, right? So, but we're gonna go backwards because that was actually nice.
It could also be a grid.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It could also be a grid for your, like, how you're gonna upload your stuff. Like, you could plug in.
You could replace
You can
the
plug,
image.
plug in something for the cheesecake. You can plug in something
Exactly.
for the right side.
So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you a little bit more than what I wanted to. Let's say we didn't find a picture of a full cupcake. We can go to a place called Unsplash.com. They give you free photos. So if you go to Unsplash.com and let's put cupcake. Woo, baby. Come on, somebody. Again, we got the yellow going on here. I'm liking that, but I'm liking this pink though. This pink is nice.
Nice.
I just want to make Mariana jealous. That's all.
Yeah, she's. I see her. She's licking her lips about. She's drooling about the cupcakes.
Oh, this is nice too. Okay, I could be here all day. Yeah, I mean, these are crazy pictures. Wow. So I could be here all day, right? So I downloaded the photos, right? So if I go to my downloaded pictures, it should be right here. Here are the photos we just downloaded. There you go. Right? So just beautiful stuff. And this one right here. Whew. One thing that you have to know about Unsplash is they give you really high quality photos. So a lot of these photos are super heavy. So this picture, for example, is 7 megabytes. So just that photo by itself will not even be uploaded on YouTube. So, but the good thing is once we put it here, it's going to be. So how do you upload a photo here? You come here to upload, and you can upload pictures here. You can decide to upload it from your device, which is my computer. And then which one do you guys want, guys? This one or this one?
Not that one.
I like
the first one. I think was the best.
The first one was better.
I think the first one was
this
the best
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The people have spoken. We're going to choose that one. And all right, so we upload it. So it's going to upload it here. So you can see here on the side it's uploading the picture. It does this little water thing until it's completely done. All right. Okay, so that's completely done. So one of the things that we can do is you can grab it and bring it over. Well, let me go back. So there's many ways, right? So if I grab this and I just bring it over like this, it's going to put it like that to whatever that size, that the orientation of the picture, right? But we like the way this picture is positioned already. I like the way it's positioned in the screen. It's kind of respecting that rule of third. What if I wanted to replace this new cupcake to fit into the same size this is? So what I would do is I would select the picture that I want to replace first. I take the picture that I just uploaded, and I hover over it, and it replaces it. You see that, guys? So that's something that can help. It simplifies it. This is if you're using a template, obviously. If you're doing it from scratch, you would just have to readjust the size, and you can readjust it yourself depending on what you want. To me, that looks pretty good. So, I mean, what do we say?
Cupcakes are awesome.
The best cupcakes you ever ate.
I make the best cupcakes.
The best cupcakes.
Boom.
Okay. So what we can do, we can reduce the size here.
Yeah.
So, all right. All right, that's okay. So the good thing with Canva, you can be able to group things. Like for example, with this title here, the Easy Baker Vlog and the Best Cupcake are grouped together. How do you know that? When you click on it, you look on the side here, it says ungroup, which means that they're grouped together. So if I click this, now they're separated, and I can move this one separately, and I can move this one separately, right? Which in this case, I wanted to move them separately so I can bring them together. And if I want to bring them closer, so I'll click on one, press Control or Command. Actually, what I could do, I could just do this. So you can just select those two items like this, and then you group them. So now they're grouped again. Again, no comment there. So that's, to me, that's almost done, right? So depending on if you, I like the little touch of the cookie, and that those are clip arts. So how do you find clip arts? If you go here under elements, they also give you some few things that you can search, like let's say cookies, right? You found different ones here for cookies that you can add to that. So let's say this one is nice. Let's add this one. Somebody bit a cookie. So let's add this one to the corner, like right there. Something like that, right? You can add more and make it just as more fancy as you want. Let's say we want to add text to this. I'll come here under text. I can choose whatever this font. So if you want to stay similar, I want to stay similar to this font. This is Aileron. Well, either way, let me look it up here. Aileron. Put it that way. So it's giving me different template where this word is being used, but that's not what I want. So I'm gonna just take this, copy it. Well, no, actually, I'm gonna ungroup it first. And then I'm going to take the Easy Baker, because that's what I want to, the Easy Baker Vlog. I want to use the same font for the name. So we're going to make this a Mariana vlog. Mariana.
And I can't bake, okay, so that's not going to work.
This is your channel.
I can't bake.
So yeah, so basically this is how you would finish a thumbnail, really pretty simple. So the next step now, after you have this, remember I kept telling you it looks good big, right? You have to make sure you look at it small. So this right here gives you the ability to kind of know what size you want to look at it. So I usually tend to look at it big to see if there's any problems, and also make sure I look at it super small to know how would that look in terms of a thumbnail. Is it still readable? Like for example, I can still read the Best Cupcakes. It's pretty big. The image is still pretty big at 10%, right? So you can do 25% as well, but 25% is just, almost like to the regular size. So yeah, so that's basically how I would get something done like this. And then now to download it, depending on what I will want, you click on download here, and the suggested is usually PNG. PNGs tend to be a much better file, but also a JPEG is still pretty good. There's no problem in terms of that. You will notice one thing here. as a PNG file. If you wanted to have a transparent background or you wanted to compress the file to make a smaller file, the little crown here on the side just means that it is a pro version, so you have to pay for that. But then again, you know, we're just grateful Canva gives us the ability to do something like this. So I would download this.
How much is Canva? Just like this, the first plan, I guess.
The pro version. Let's see. I'm not even sure. Let me see. Canva Pro price.
Is it like $10 a month?
It is $9. Yeah, $9 a month.
It's US.
$9.99. US. Yes.
Yeah, it's like $100 Canadian.
Exactly. So we just finished making that, so we just downloaded it on the computer. So we'll go back to our downloads. Here's our beautiful
nice
thumbnail. So Mariana, you're ready to spice up your channel.
There you go. You should actually.
So
that's
basically
I wish I could.
how you do it.
Okay.
That's a nice job, man. Wow.
Yeah. So
Canva really makes it easy.
Yeah, Canva is. Those guys are awesome.
You know what? I might have to get the pro version, man. I'm tired of making thumbnails.
Another place that could be good as well to make thumbnails is this place called fodder.com. I don't know if you guys ever heard of fodder.com.
Fodder.
FOTOR. You can edit.
Really?
They're pretty good as well in terms of making different photos, thumbnails, and stuff like that. You can edit.
There's editing? You can edit?
You can edit. Yeah, you can edit photos as well. Most of it's for free. It's kind of like Canva. Like once you start getting to the more complex stuff, then you pay also something very minimal. But honestly, the majority of the stuff you can do is free. You can compress files to here. I mean, it's really incredible. So they have a pro version again. They're kind of a little bit of a copy of Canva, but so something to use. Another thing that for photos that you can use, I'm just giving the bag away today. Free pick. So it's another great place to get good pictures. Let's see if we can get some cupcakes here.
Ooh, I didn't know about free pick.
Yeah, free pick. It does a lot of great stuff. Ooh, this is nice with the white background. So you can add words here on the side.
Oh yeah.
So, these are nice.
While we're on the topic of free pictures, Pexels, Pexels.
Exactly. Pexels is also pretty good.
And you might very well download some of Paul's pictures on Pexels. Right, Paul?
Yeah, it's possible. And if you do, please send me money.
Donate.
Donate.
Yes. Please
I like how when you let me take this up for a second. When you donate, when you download someone's picture, they say, hey, you can donate, or you can just follow your Instagram. So either or.
Unsplash does the same thing. Like if you download, for example, this picture here, it'll tell you here, hey, give a shout out to Jenny on social media, or copy the text on the bottom to attribute. So they do the same thing to help creators. So
yeah, that's what the artist, man.
That's basically it on my side. So
great job.
Well done. Evans said he has someone put together an identity kit for him recently, and he's been trying to stick to that. Yes, Evans actually talked me into getting someone to redesign a logo for me, even though I haven't fully launched it yet. But then I also got someone on Fiverr to make a thumbnail for me. Okay, it was $5, but I learned so much from that one thumbnail. I literally applied a lot to my future thumbnails, because he charged $5 for the thumbnail and an extra $5 to give you the the PSD file, which is the Photoshop file that he used. So of course, you have to understand Photoshop a little bit to see exactly what he did. Otherwise, you still be lost in the sauce. But then, it gave me great ideas, and it's an easy way to improve your thumbnails. So if you haven't ever tried it, try it once. Trust me, find somebody with good ratings on Fiverr, and then let them give your thumbnail a touch, and then you might see things that otherwise you wouldn't have been able to come up with yourself. Yeah.
100%.
It's funny that you say that. I did one thumbnail guy from Fiverr. He's the one who showed me how to do how like you do the outline around the body, that little white line. You've seen YouTubers do like the little. I learned that from a Fiverr guy by doing basically what you did too. I looked at the file because when I done, I was like, oh, that's how you do that. I was like, okay, cool. So I've done it in some of my thumbnails as well too. So I think it was trendy at one time. I don't know if they still do that a lot, but
it's still there. I think it works because somehow it kind of like pulls your eye a little bit. It still works. It still works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I think Evans is saying Canva allows you to create your own custom brand kits and themes. So this will include your color theme, your font, and everything. So I think if you upload that, then you don't have to reselect everything each time.
So it's right here. I was gonna actually let me share this as well again, so we can show the people where that is. So right here, when you come to Canva, so this is the main page again. Under brand kit right here, you have the ability to upload your logo, all that kind of stuff, to make sure you have the everything similar. Does that make sense? I mean, how your logo is going to look, you can apply that to your upcoming things. One of the things you can do as well, see how we just created that one thumbnail, which is going to be this right here, is going to generate it here. You can see some of the other thumbnails that I've done. Even this is my channel, my channel stuff. So you'll see here the things that are scrolling. These are the different things that I've worked on throughout the past. So even beside the thumbnail, the outro, you see the outro where people click to make sure that they can watch another video and stuff like that. I've also created it here because you get the same dimensions, right? So you can create something where this is some of the other vlog stuff that I've done in terms of thumbnails, the subscribe button, the arrows. I've played around with a lot of different ones to see. Oh, you see the little thing I was telling you about about the outlines. This is another. This is the channel art. They even have the thing for the channel art. See that little thing that is right behind. What's the channel art? Let me show. The channel art is this thing right here on the top.
All right.
For those who do not know. So
yes, let me throw something here real quick. So guys, if you do not have a picture there, if yours is just blank, you will not be monetized. Okay, don't ask me how I know. Apparently, it's one of the requirements to have a picture there, not having blank.
Yeah. So Canva also gives you a what is it called? A particular template for that. So if you come here, right next to where we chose, see, this is the thumbnail, next to it, this is the channel art. So you don't even have to worry about what the dimension, what that is. They give it to you already, 2560 by 1440. Basically the same dimension as a 4K video.
Where do you make the end screen?
It's the same thing as a thumbnail. You mean dimension wise? It's the same. It's the same screen.
Oh yeah. And then you just how do you upload it on YouTube?
Oh, I do that. You got to put it on your editor as you're editing the video.
It goes with your video at the end, right?
At the end, when you edit it at the end.
But then the spots you leave, the videos will just fill in the spots.
Exactly.
I get it.
Exactly. So let me show you this right here. I mean, this is, I know we're talking about thumbnail, but to explain a little bit to Paul what I mean by that is.
Yeah.
By the way, you could work on many different ones on the same project. Like for example, there's different pages here. And the good thing is by working on many different pages, you could just copy a page and duplicate it and change what you need to. Duplicate it and change what you need to. So you don't have to restart it from scratch every time. Yeah, so Paul, this is just like, I'll download this as a picture. And then, you know, when the subscribe comes on, the video comes on, it just fits the place.
It's in,
yeah, the good thing is you get the right size right away. So it's not like a little bigger, a little smaller. So you get the exact size by doing it. I mean, I created this specifically for my channel, but I had this thing right here that kind of gives me the good graphics, different sizes, so I know.
That's pro, man. That's pro, man.
Yeah, and the great advantage to that is, you know, sometimes I hate when I put an end screen and my video, I haven't finished what I'm saying, but then all these things pop up and people might click away. They might think the video is over, but I have 20 good seconds left, you know. So when you put an end screen, what it does is that it makes sure people would watch your video to the end before the end screen comes. So yeah.
And also,
and just like Evans is saying, make sure the duration is 20 seconds.
Exactly. And also, it's another ask, right? So you're asking people, right? I mean, we all YouTubers, you know this, right? You gotta ask people to subscribe. That's something I used to tell my sister a lot. She used to think that people, you don't deserve any subscribers. You gotta ask them. You know what I mean? Like, so this is another low key ask by doing it that way. And you know, you can change whatever the words kind of say and stuff. It's up to you. Yeah, that's basically it.
Very nice, very nice.
Very good job, man.
Appreciate it.
All right. I think today's video, man. Some of y'all, we should have paid for this video today.
People better be clicking the link.
It's all good. We live to learn every day. And guys, if you are new here, please check out the channels of Mariana. That's her channel name in bracket right there. It's Huntress.308. And then Salem Sony. Check out his channel. And then Paul, you go chain too. You can also check out my channels, Meek Photos and Patient Money. Meek Photos for photography, Patient Money for if you love making money.
And why are they separate?
Right.
I know, right? Maybe one day I'll just merge them if it's possible. Yeah. All right. Well, any final words before we say goodbye here?
Thanks so much.
I just want to say about Canva, I do have the free version, and it works okay for me. I mean, usually I start slow, and then if I feel like I have to expand, then I will get the pro version. But so far, it's still a lot to learn. It's really good. I do everything on my phone, and everything you showed us, you have it on the phone. It's just, it would be nicer on a laptop because then it's bigger. Right. But on the phone, I don't know if you showed it, like when you replace an image and you put your image in there, on the bottom, it will actually say colors in this thing or whatever. So it will pick out some colors that will go well with it. So you could choose your font and everything. So you can just start with the free one, you know, and just, there's like a learning curve. It took me a few weeks to really like enjoy it. But that is the one thing that I use. The other thing that I do use when I put my face in the videos and everything, I remove the background. And there are free apps out there, background eraser. And I think it's important. Some of my early thumbnails, it would be me with a selfie in a square, and then I would put it on it because that's the only way I could do it. And then I started doing it where I just cut everything out, and it just looks better. So these are the two things that I use for my thumbnails. But I learned a lot today, so I will do the yellow border around my thumbnails and maybe different shades of yellow or whatever, but we'll see what happens.
Right. So one thing I was going to add also to what Mariana said to end, the best equipment, the best font, the best thumbnail is what you have. start with what you have. So
Yeah.
that's why we wanted to show something completely free. Something actually, here's the funny part. I've used the free version of Canva for 4 years, right? So it's not even like I'm here to be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna do this. When I graduated from the free version, I went straight to the big pros. I mean, like Photoshops and stuff like that. I was like, I'm not gonna pay them to go there, and I really want to master the craft. But the point in saying that is, start with what you have, right? Start completely with, you know, making your life simple. Spend as much, not as much, but spend a reasonable amount of time in your thumbnail, because you don't want to make an incredible video. Your video is going to be wonderful, but no one's going to know about it because you rushed through the thumbnail, right? Make people intrigued enough to want to know how great your content is. So don't skip over the thumbnail and say, okay, it's not going to really matter. If you're going to use, you got to use free photos or things like that. Just the Google search away to finding a lot of free content. Some of the things that we've shown you. So I think those are the things I can say. Start with what you have. Start where you are. Use free content as much as you can until you're trying to start making enough money that you can afford to pay for some of the other stuff. And then, yeah, you can do this, man. And we're all learning. Even me today, there's some things about Canva that I had to refresh myself before doing the presentation. So obviously, if we could do it, you could definitely do it as well.
Very well said. Very well said. Very well said. Paul?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks so much. I learned a lot today. So thanks so much for a great presentation. And yeah, I mean, like Salam said, like if you make a great video, spend some time on making a thumbnail that's gonna hook the viewer in, right? So no one's entitled to views or subscribers, so just put the effort in and you'll get the results. So thanks so much, man. Very, very good job.
Appreciate it.
All right. So yes, I'm going to take pictures tomorrow for I'm gonna call it a thumbnail picture day. I'm going to take a bazillion pictures. I've already started clearing stuff in my garage. I'm setting up a background and I'm gonna set up lights and all that. But I was thinking about what background to use, and I just realized that I do have a yellow background.
Hey.
so I don't know. I might just use that, and that might just be a new trend. Right now, the main colors on my channel are green and white. But you know, I'm not planning to stick with that forever. You know, so if I find something that works and you know, have a face in there too. So I'm gonna give it a shot and see. I would see what colors will complement the yellow very well.
Right.
Otherwise, I might just use it as a glow around me, and that's it. You know, that could be that. Yeah,
for sure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much for watching, and we will be back next week. Mariana is going to find a new topic for us to talk about next week. So, so far she's been like coming up with the topics like the past 4 weeks. So we'll find a topic, and hopefully this time I'm able to post it earlier so that you guys are aware of, you know, when we're coming live and what we're going to talk about. So we'll see you all. Keep creating, and see you next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Peace.